part of this process because, like I said in the last episode, you are a decision maker on your own healthcare team. You're a part of the process. It would behoove you to stand in that, to own that power, because it's only going to make your outcomes much better when you are aware and when you are participating. Otherwise, whatever happens, happens. And there are doctors who believe in that. Just, well, whatever happens, happens, and we just have to go with whatever happens as it happens. Would you get on a plane with the pilot telling you something like that? You would not get on a plane with the pilot saying, whatever happens, happens. The weather's the weather. I don't have control over the weather, so we'll just see. What you would never get on a plane with the pilot telling you that. We might need to start talking to these pilots too. We might need to run. I might need to make. No, I'm gonna stop. Okay, but that's the gist. That's what I want. That's how I wanted to wrap up this 3-part series of Let the Medical Movement Commence. And just saying that, reminding you that you are very much a person who has power when it comes to your health care. And you do yourself no justice to walk into a hospital or to walk into a clinic or doctor's office, and just relinquish it all over because you don't know. And like I've said before, we've got to get out of this, it's such an innocent and naive, look that we have at these positions like doctors, right? We're just taught from a very young age that whatever the doctor says is what you do. And in a lot of cases, that is going to be fine. But they need to show you that it's going to be fine before you just decide that it's fine. And when it all began, these were doctors. Like, understand, doctors were very much a part of the community. So the doctor was also a neighbor. The doctor was showing up at PTA meetings. So people understood the thought processes and the values that their doctor had, right? Most people lived in communities with other people who looked like them and thought like them and felt like them. And that's fine that one community's values is going to be different. That's the nature of what it means to be in community. But now that we live in times and spaces where it all gets mixed up, you have to do your diligence to understand who your doctor is. You don't see your doctor at the supermarket. You don't see your doctor at the PTA meetings. You don't get to hear your doctor's opinion, okay, at a town hall meeting. That's not life right now. We're not in like places like Houston, New York, Chicago, Detroit, maybe in small town, maybe if you're still in small town USA, that's the way it is. But these big medical, industrial complexes, these huge medical systems that are triple and quadruple layered, with all the hundreds of moving parts, okay, on the conveyor belt line, you have to gain that information, which means you have to do some work, okay? And then when we've done all of that, we can hold people accountable. We should be holding people accountable, okay? But when you've done your part, you feel that much more entitled, and that's what you owe to yourself, that if you've done all of that and things still go left and fall off the deep end, well, then you absolutely better get in there and hold that doctor accountable. because you did your work. You did your part. So you know, because you walked that whole thing. And they still wouldn't treat you right? When you don't do that, we sit around with questions. Well, I don't know how we got there, and I don't know what happened, and everything happened so fast, and sometimes that's just going to be the case too. But if you do your diligence, you do your diligence. Because then you have no question when you stand up and say, this ain't right. That young lady, she knew right away. This ain't right. She knew it wasn't right when them EMPTs told her that she just had anxiety. She's like, now I know. I'm not saying what she said, but if I was her, then I know damn well I've been told several times over during what month is Red Heart Month or whatever, when they tell everybody to wear red, I know damn well that I read that chest pain, shortness of breath, and pain shooting down my arm is a heart attack and I need to call 911 and get some help immediately. She knew that. She knew that because she has listened. She has done the work. So she knew straight away when it was some baloney that somebody was trying to feed her, and she was just like, nah, you got to get out of my way because you'll be the demise of me. So let me get to the next place and get this right. And then she got in that place, and she got help, but then they started all that school playground mean girl nonsense. And she was able to stand up in that and say, nah, this ain't gonna fly either. I'm in here trying to heal my heart, trying to get my body back to optimal strength so I can walk up out of this place. And these people aren't treating me right. And not only are they not treating me right, but they're antagonizing me too. Let me get on this live with people in my community, so somebody can hear me and say something for me because I'm still in here trying to heal my heart. She could do that, and she could stand firm in that because she knew that she had done her part in every step of the way to take care of herself. And when others began to fail her, she held them accountable, and she relied on her community to help her hold them accountable. And that is what's happening right now. And that is what I want for every single one of you and your family members. So you need to share this podcast episode like you shared the other ones. I laugh, but I'm so serious. Because I want you to take care of yourself. And that's what it means to take care of yourself. You've got to do some work. You cannot relinquish all of your power and control over to people that you don't know. Because you don't know what they're on. And you don't know who's going to show up for you at the hospital that day. You just don't know. So that is where we are with our main segment. I hope that was helpful. And I hope it doesn't come off. I always say I don't want to come off preachy and then I wind up preachy, but I hope that you hear, I hope you hear the care and concern. And I hope you hear, more than preaching and more than just like telling stories of bad people. That's why I never feel the need to say names except for Memorial Hermann, because this is an ongoing situation. They need to get their stuff together. But I don't ever feel like I need to go in the past and say, X hospital did this to da-da-da-da-da-da. There's no point. I'm not trying to out hospitals. I'm not trying to get people in trouble or get people fired or I don't want any of that. What I want is for my community and for individuals to understand their own power when they go into these situations. That's what I hope for you. That's what I want for you. That's why I'm sharing this information with you, so that you have everything in your own power to make the best decisions for yourself. And that's what it is. And here we are in our final segment, what I love about, and I just, I talked all that stuff about the medical industrial complex. And now I'm about to tell y'all what I loved about it. What I loved about my experiences in working there, working in academic medicine, working in the medical industrial complex. I loved how much I was able to learn, and I love that I always, you don't always, when you work in academic medicine, it's not like you get automatically paired with the doctor that you're going to fit best with. It's a big hiring, it's a corporate hiring process, like I'm sure it is for any other. I've never worked anywhere else, so I don't know. But it's a process that doesn't always make for the best fit, but I felt like I always wound up with the physicians that I needed to be with the physicians who were very open to teaching, and they taught me so much. I learned so much from them. From the very beginning, when I first started working in women's health, I worked with 2 doctors who were urogynecologists, and I can't even express how much of what I do now began with them. I mean, obviously, because it was my foundation. But more than just the medical side of things, more than the technicalities of the procedures that we would, more than just the technicalities of procedures and clinical type things, how to handle tough situations with women, how to have those tough conversations, how to problem solve and figure out pretty quickly what the barriers in communication were so that you could get around that and get these women to the help that they needed. Those soft skills I learned just as much as anything else. When I moved to Houston, I learned from other physicians more about the social impacts of health. This stuff that I talk about on here today, it is from my experience, what I worked and what I saw across, like I said, 3 different states, right? But when I got here, it was the doctors that I worked with here who helped me understand how we navigate these socioeconomic issues. And that sometimes, even though you work for an institution and your job is to follow that institution's values and fit into their culture, that sometimes you've got to buck the system. I learned that from the doctors that I worked with. And so I appreciate them. I do. I talk a lot of crap about doctors because I'm always thinking about those bad ones. But the voice that you hear now, a lot of it comes from some of those doctors that I worked with that were like, sometimes we just got to do what we have to do. And it's not always going to fit into what the system wants or tells us we have to do. And we find our way and we make our way. And sometimes we do it under, out of the way, out of the sight, out of the ears of other people. But if it means taking care of a woman, we do what we need to do to take care of women, period. And that's been my motto for many years. that we take care of women, period.